Hey, welcome to the Positive Legacy Podcast for Christian Fathers. I'm your host, Dan Hayden. After 23 years in the Army, working with and leading some of the finest our nation has to offer, I turned to the coaching profession to help me write the next chapter of my life. What I didn't know was the impact it would have in my personal life as a Christian, as a father, and as a husband. That is why I have made it my mission to help Christian fathers go from miscommunication and tension in their relationships with their family to relationships rooted in genuine understanding and mutual trust, so they can build a lasting legacy of faith and connection. The title of today's episode says it all: Faith in the Fire. Today, we're talking about how we can handle ourselves when our kids push back against our values. Let's be honest, this is one of the biggest fears we carry as dads. The moment when your son says, "I'm not sure I believe this anymore," or your daughter says, "Dad, I don't think church is for me," something inside of you tightens. You start thinking, where did I go wrong? Did I not teach them enough? Did I not pray enough? Have I not led them well enough? Hey, look, I've been there, and maybe you have too. So today, we're going to talk about what to do when your teen starts to drift, which is completely natural, by the way, or even if they push back against the faith and values you've tried to build in them. Because here's the truth: God's not afraid of our teens' questions, and we don't have to be either. Let's talk about how faith actually grows in these moments, how to respond with empathy instead of argument, and how long-term influence is built through safety, not through control. Let's get into it. Let's start with this first idea. Faith grows stronger under questioning. Now, here's where our saboteurs start to show up as dads. When our kids question our faith, our controller wants to jump in, and we feel the urge to fix it. Or our judge starts whispering, "If they drift, it's your fault." And sometimes our avoider tries to smooth things over instead of having a real and hard conversation. But here's the truth: those saboteurs are fear-based. They tell us we need to protect our ego, our image, or our sense of control. What if instead we led from our sage perspective? The sage in us trusts that God is already at work. The sage activates our empathize and explore powers. These are two powers that open space instead of closing it. When you respond to your teenager's doubt with, "That's okay, let's talk about it," you're not just being calm, you're choosing sage curiosity over saboteur control. And that choice grows both your faith and theirs. Because the goal here isn't to end the questioning, it's to walk through it together. It's to come alongside them. So remember, when that panic rises, take a breath, name the saboteur, then invite the sage to lead. That is building self-command. I remember talking to a dad whose son came home one night and said, "Dad, I don't know if I'm a Christian anymore." The dude was heartbroken, but instead of arguing or quoting verses, he just listened. He asked questions. He said, "Help me understand what changed." Over the next few months, his kid didn't just come back to their faith, he found it for himself. Because his dad made space for him to work through conversation, not coercion. Brothers, let me tell you, faith tested is faith strengthened. We all have examples of this. Let your teens' questions become the soil God uses to grow something real. Here's the second point: empathy beats argument. This is where our judge shows up big time. Judging our teens' choices, culture's influence, even ourselves for not doing enough. Or maybe it's the stickler saboteur, insisting on perfect theology and perfect behavior. Black and white, there is no gray. But here's the thing: the judge and the stickler are terrible teachers. They create fear, not faith. Empathy, on the other hand, as you might guess, comes from the sage power of empathize. That is the ability to see your kids struggle through the eyes of compassion. And it starts with you and it flows outward. This is not weakness. It's strength under control. So when your teen says, Dad, Christianity feels judgmental, and you pause instead of preach, you're doing mental fitness in real time. You're shifting from reactivity to relationship. In PQ, we talk about moving from the survival brain to the sage brain. That shift happens through empathy, curiosity, and calm presence. And as Christian fathers, that mirrors how Jesus led as well. He didn't panic when people doubted. He connected with them first, then spoke truth in love. When he met the woman at the well, he didn't start with a debate about morality. He started with connection. He listened, he valued her, and then he spoke truth. So next time that tension rises, do a quick PQ rep. Feel your breath, maybe rub your fingertips together, focus intensely on one physical sensation, recenter, and then listen longer than you want to. That's the sage at work. But what does empathy look like in practice? It's simple. Like I just said, listen longer than you want to. Ask questions that start with, hey, help me understand. Reflect back what you hear before you respond. Empathy doesn't weaken your leadership. It strengthens it. Because your kid now realizes, my dad can handle my questions without losing his mind. And that's when they start coming to you more, not less. Let's remember, you're not trying to win an argument. You're trying to win their heart. And hearts open through empathy, not ego. Okay, third point. Long-term influence comes through safety. This one challenges your controller and your hyperachiever saboteurs the most. They whisper, if you can just get your kid to behave right, then you're winning as a dad. But control builds compliance, not connection. Try influence. True influence comes when your home is emotionally safe. When your kid knows, my dad doesn't love me any less when I mess up or when I question. That's where we need the sage power of navigate. That's the ability to see through the lens of purpose and values. You're not reacting to this week's argument. You're leading with eternity in mind. And then the sage power of activate takes over. You show up calm, grounded, unshaken. Your presence becomes a refuge, not a reaction. That's what creates long-term influence. Because your teen will always remember how it felt to be loved by you in their uncertainty. Now, safety doesn't mean you abandon your values. It means your teen knows your values and your love aren't in competition. Did you hear what I just said? Your values and your love are not in competition. So if your kid is testing limits, and they will, or they're exploring new ideas, which we should encourage them to do, or maybe they're rejecting what you taught them, your posture says, I'm still your dad, I'm still for you, and I'm still here. Romans chapter 2, verse 4 says it clearly. It's God's kindness that leads to repentance. When we operate from the sage, anchored in kindness, not fear, we mirror God's heart to our own kids. So let's bring this home. When your teen questions your faith or pushes back against your values, remember, number one, faith grows stronger under questioning. So quiet your saboteurs and lead with curiosity. Number two, empathy beats argument. Your judge and the stickler saboteur need to just step aside. The sage leads with compassion. Number three, safety builds long-term influence. We have to release control and live from the calm confidence of the sage navigate and activate powers. Hey, if you want to go deeper with this, here are 2 ways you can do that. First, join me on Sunday, November 2nd for a free live masterclass. It's titled Embracing Empathy, Christ's Model for Your Teen. We'll break down these saboteurs and practice real PQ tools that help you stay calm, connected, and spirit-led when conversations get heated. You can save your seat right now at findyourazimuthcoaching.com/events. Second, if you're ready to grow inside a brotherhood that lives this out every day, join my Legacy Academy. This is a coaching community for Christian fathers building faith and connection at home. You can apply for that at findyourazimuthcoaching.com/legacy-academy. Both of these links are in the show notes. Remember, your family's faith isn't forged in comfort, it's forged in the fire, and you are built to stand in it with peace, purpose, and power. Let's get to work.